Hey friends, I am at a park. I have some pigeons that are landing over here because I just pulled up and I guess they're used to people feeding them. So I'm just like, sorry guys, I don't have anything for you. But anyway, my name is Hannah and I like making these like podcast episodes just to kind of share what I am doing, what things are like, what I'm learning as I'm on this path of figuring out how to have a sustainable income. You know, as I am seeing, just learning more about my needs, my desires, how to support my own self internally as I go about life, being alive, so that I can have energy, creative inspiration to do something that earns me money in a sustainable, like meaningful, non-painful way. And today I was just thinking, you can probably hear the pigeons, they sound so cute. But today I was just thinking about how, I usually tend to not want to use the labels too much because I can kind of have a little bit of a superstitious, or not even superstitious, just like sometimes it's a bit superstitious, but just a thing where I'm like afraid of the self-fulfilling prophecy, like if I use a label, is it going to mean that I just kind of block myself as far as like narrative options, ways that I can interpret myself so that I can, enjoy life more. So, but today I was just like, you know what? I do relate to the label of agoraphobia. Like I just do. And, I think in the past that also comes with a lot of a sense of shame. A sense of shame of like it being a personal failure, or like I should feel, or like it's evidence, me being afraid of and being in public is evidence of, my corruption or whatever. And I am just really on the train of having so much empathy for myself these days. And man, it's pretty over here. I wish I had my stuff up here so my phone can rest against it, but it's nice here. I don't know, I'm just trying to think like, yes, I have this time in my life where I have a lot of freedom and I don't choose to go out. I choose to like stay at home, and nothing's wrong with that. I'm not saying that I'm ashamed of being home and enjoying my time, but I'm also saying sometimes I'm at home because I want to be out. I want to be in nature, but I'm afraid to be, And, today I just had this idea, like, what if this sounds really pretty right now. But I just had this idea, like, what if I go outside? What if I go to the store and get a donut? I get a donut, something that I like, something enjoyable, to really be in that sense of like non-judgmental enjoyment of being alive. I went to Safeway, got a donut, drove around a little bit while listening to I'm gonna probably say it wrong, Nagura Bunjet. I think they're from Ukraine, but listening to their album which I found a couple months ago. I had heard it when I was a teenager, but I didn't like it then, so I listened to it again, and I really like it. I was listening to it driving around, and I was thinking of how it feels like sorry, like all my sense of fears and preoccupations, like it's still this sense of like I will not allow terror to inform my decisions in life. I will like stand by myself, like that feeling of being like a warrior, and seeing the intensity, not relating it to like a panic attack like I would in the past, but seeing it as being like, you know, the image of like a warrior screaming out into the rain during a thunderstorm, just like screaming for like the joy of being alive, not even like in pain or agony or whatever, but just like, you know, that kind of, you know, really romantic image, just showing the intensity of nature, and how humans are nature. And like every single one of us, we have so much intensity in us, and being intense, it doesn't, you know, I don't exactly know what words to put with it, but something like just embracing that innate sense of humanity within ourselves, of knowing like we all have that warrior in us that is just like anyway, because lately I've been really thinking about a lot of fears that I have. Fears like, you know, what if my panic attacks come back? Like, that's something I've struggled with as I've started to eat sugar again in the past few weeks, because I didn't eat it for over a year. I've been struggling, like, what if I'm eating sugar and my panic attacks come back one day? What if my excruciating, you know, period cramps and endometriosis type symptoms come back? What, you know, and then thinking like, but what if sugar is also something that allows me to just have more, you know, kind of using it as a drug and like a crutch or kind of way, or just enjoyment, like something that can help my depressed brain feel a little bit more interested in being alive, you know, feel a little bit more of the color and the sights and sounds, and be a little bit more numb, so that I can feel more interesting things. And then that can fuel me towards activities or senses of self or opportunities that get me into a sustainable way of income, so then I can stop eating sugar, or so that I can get resources so that I won't have endometriosis symptoms and panic attacks. Because I really think that those two things for me, it was related to my extreme stress, you know, being homeless for so many years, being forced to take being forced to take Seroquel when I was at a dual diagnosis center that I stayed at, that I checked myself into on purpose because I didn't have a place to live. I didn't want to live with my boyfriend. I knew I couldn't, because he gave me HIV and it was a horrible relationship. But I knew that I, you know, wanted to live like by myself, but I couldn't sustainably earn money. Like it felt like torture to me at the job I had at the vet. And so I just was like I'm gonna go like housing support, try to get on the train of like improving myself in some kind of way. I smoke weed, I drink, you know, I like every human being can be diagnosed with a mental illness if you really portray yourself from that angle, you know, these common human thoughts and feelings we have as we struggle through life. So I got myself into that place, the dual diagnosis center. And anyway, there are all these things that I know played into me having endometriosis type symptoms. I've never gotten scans or anything like that, but you know, cysts bursting and panic attacks. Like I know that the more my life has had stability, you know, like my boyfriend, the stable place I have to live, in that sense of like family and hope for the future that I have from my relationship with him, like that, and just the rest, like my body being able to rest, that has helped so much over time. And anyway, so it's all these fears, right? These fears of the future, these trying to hyper analyze all the decisions that we make. I mean, I'm trying to hyper analyze all the decisions that I make, and I think that a lot of people who are survivors, we can relate to this, you know. And these geese are really cute. walking in a little line. I don't know if you can even see it. I can't tell what I'm putting this camera on. Anyway. Yeah, I've just been thinking about my fears, been thinking about how so many of the ways that I frame things, the things I try to do, it's focused more on like trying to calculate, predict, avoid danger, and it's so hyper focused on just like how to avoid and manage suffering. And I'm just like, okay, yes, thank you, self, for having this beautiful part of you, but we need some balance. Like, we need something else that is on the opposite side of that too. Like, what are the parts of me that are just like, ooh, I enjoy this. Like, I love this. Like, how can I support myself? There are my donuts just down there. How can I support myself to enjoy being alive? And that's when I started thinking, agoraphobia for me, like I think I had to leave it, give it some space for a few months, because I was just thinking of agoraphobia in terms of like, I have to push and force myself and shame myself, and I have to do it all by discipline and like forcing myself, and being like I'm proud of you. And those things aren't bad, but it wasn't like, I felt more like distance from myself. Like, the stance I was taking in my mind is that I was telling myself like, you have something fucked up about you, and I'm like you're a piece of trash, but I'm gonna be so kind and try to help you, and I'm gonna discipline you, I'm gonna force you to go out there, you're gonna be strong. Ooh, like what's the army thing, like oorah or whatever. Like, it was too like, yeah, you fucked up piece of shit, let's like make you a worthwhile person. It was too much like that kind of thing that I had going in my head, so I had to leave it, like just leave it for a while. And there's been a lot of mini phases within my relationship to like going out and doing stuff, including like being with dogs so much, doing house sits, and that's like, I just don't bother to go out because I'm like, I don't know, it's also a part of like trying to save gas money. But when I'm, today, I think the difference compared to in the past, when I try to force myself to go to the park or whatever, or like go on hikes, like in the past I was like, you need to exercise, you need to improve, and today I'm just like focusing all about pleasure. Like, I got my donut, I drove around for a while listening to music, and then I came here and I walked around a little bit, but it felt more like, internally it felt more a sense like I was with myself, like I was telling myself like you deserve to feel safe. Like, if anybody harms or judges you, like, you don't need to harm and judge yourself, and you also don't need to harm yourself by comparing yourself to other people. And like, I did notice some people standing on the dock down there, the dock, and I didn't go over them because immediately I was like, oh, people don't go. And that's definitely something about me also, is when I was younger, I'm 33, when I was like in my more early 20s, mid 20s, like I didn't experience fear like that. I think a lot of it had to do with drugs. But I didn't have that agoraphobia like that, and I do now. I think it was a flying ant on my car window. But it definitely is something I noticed from myself. Like, if I keep on being in alignment with not using shame or demonizing myself, punishing myself in order to try to get my behaviors to change, it's something I noticed that I just am afraid of being around people, I do worry about like what could happen. What if somebody does attack me? And the truth is, like, of course most people won't, but the thing is, some people will. Like, the world isn't a very safe place in a lot of ways. Things are unpredictable, you know. It's not a crazy thing to think and feel. It makes sense to think and feel that way. And I just think about how much safer I feel when I'm with people. And so much of my life, like, I have tried to do the like hyper independent thing, and you know, I'm just not really interested in experiencing that too much more. I do want to a little bit. Like, I want to be able to enjoy going out and doing things without needing to be reliant on someone. But I also know my limitations. I don't want to stress myself out if, you know, the aim is for it to be enjoyable for me, right? And I was also thinking, what are ways that I can kind of distract my mind because I do get hyper vigilant, you know, and I see someone from a distance and I start like stiffening up and feeling like I have to act, like feeling this sense of like I'm acting, like I have to pretend I don't notice them. I have to not like instigate them. I do have that sense. And, you know, a lot of it might be also relics from the domestic abuse that I went through, but I also know that a lot of people, they can be like that if they've never been abused. So it also has to do with just seeing things happen to other people. But I've been thinking lately, like, what I was doing this morning, for example, like in the grocery store, when I was walking around here at this park, I was thinking, like, what if I just walk around and my hyper fixation, hyper vigilance, what if it's focused more so on the sound of the waves, the sounds of the birds? Like, how do I dilute my focus, or not dilute, but, you know, like spread out my focus so that I'm not just like super focused on visually and in the narration in my head, like, what if this person has ill intentions for me? What if I'm going to be attacked? What if this person is going to shame me, and my automatic sense of internal responses that I have to hate and shame myself and agree with them, you know? I was just trying to think, like, I was trying to like hear the waves extra strong because I was standing there by water, you know? Hearing the birds, hearing the clank of, I don't know, it's over by those sailboats or yachts or whatever they are, boats. There's like some clanking sound, you know, I'm not sure what was causing it, but it sounded like something was blowing in the wind, maybe. Just focusing more on those things. And letting that help me to like breathe and feel more in my body instead of like trying to pretend I'm invisible and then imagining like all in my mind space, you know, like trying to imagine this scenario from an external point of view, like if I'm watching it outside of myself and trying to calculate like what I should do type of thing, you know. And so that's a lot of times like how I am. And anyway, yeah, I think I covered most of the things that I was wanting to mention and that I've been thinking about this morning. And I think that I've just been feeling lately, I think that money, sustainable money, will come to me eventually. I don't know in what way, shape, or form. I don't have to force it. I don't have to, But I think it'll come to me eventually if I just keep on practicing. Like, how do I support myself to feel safe? How do I help myself enjoy life more? Like, I like to go on walks. I was walking, hearing the red-winged blackbirds, hearing the water, smelling it, and I was just like, wow, there are so many, like, parts of my senses of just, like, being a human being that I'm missing out on because I'm terrified. I'm like, you know, I have so much, just so much, you know, the fear, the relics we all get from life experiences. Some, you know, we all get it in some degree and in some area of our life, and this is just mine. This is just the thing that I am moving through and the challenge that I face. But you know, I'm grateful for all the parts of me that have that feel like really strong and nourishing, like, and like a part of me that I cherish. And it has come from my same, you know, trauma and struggles and being alive and all that I am, all that we are from our life experiences, you know. Not dismissing the good parts of ourselves is important, I think. And I don't mean good parts of ourselves. I mean not dismissing the I'm imagining, like, I don't want to say capable, but like the controlling part, like the parts of ourselves that are like, oh, I got this under control. Like I feel confident how to master and how to deal with this because I have, you know, I don't know. Anyways, I think it's important to keep on enjoying life, and I guess that's all I got for now. Okay. Yeah, take care, and I hope that I don't know, me that I keep on trying to take little steps to enjoy life more and not judge myself in the way I enjoy it. Like, it's good for me to be inside and, you know, typing to people on Reddit, writing on Substack, reading people's things on Substack, listening to music, looking at music stuff, watching movies. That is beautiful and well and good, but the pleasure of it kind of diminishes when and it becomes like a bit stressful when I feel so limited in my options, you know? And so I'm just wanting to expand I don't know, maybe I'm framing it wrong. I just want to enjoy nature more. It's not like I want to expand my comfort zone and blah, blah. I just want to enjoy nature more. Like, I miss nature. I miss that sense I had when I was younger, feeling like a part of nature and, like, you know, just that sense like, oh, like, we are human beings using our ears, like, hearing it, things that are, it feels more primitive and like of the body instead of so much like of the mind, analyzing, problem solving. Things that are about using the senses and like the imagination. Anyway, I hope everyone can just enjoy being out in the world more. However that looks to us, and whatever resources we need or crutches or whatever we need in order to love ourselves and be like, this matters to us. We love that part of our soul that gets to experience like our humanity by being a part of the world. The sun looks really pretty, you know, but just being able to experience our humanity in a fuller way, because we're not going to be alive forever, and the point is to enjoy it until it ends. Okay. Yeah, take care. Bye.